y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today I'm starting my seed starting series for the summer. So today we're going to actually be starting petunias and marigolds for beautiful fall containers and garden. Okay, so typically end of August into September, I hit the nursery and I buy a ton of beautiful fall plants to put in fall containers and in my fall garden. And every year I spend quite a bit of money. This year, I'm going to take it upon myself to save some of the money like what I did earlier this year, and I'm going to start a lot of these by seed now. Now, this will be an experiment for me. I actually started a whole bunch of seeds in December, January, February, March, tons of beautiful spring annuals. Everything worked out really fun and it went really well and I saved a ton of money. Plus, I really enjoyed the process of starting all the seeds myself. So I thought I would take it upon myself to do the same sort of thing for fall. We have a very short fall window in Zone 8 here in North Texas, and it kind of is, it's tough to go buy a bunch of plants only for them to last about 4 to 5 weeks. So I thought I would get a lot more pleasure out of them if I started them all by seed. Now I've selected a number of seeds for fall containers: petunias, marigolds, coleus, or ornamental millet. I'm looking around to see what my other things are. Dichondra falls, a ton of different things to be able to utilize in containers and in my garden. I'm not going to start all of them out during this episode. I'm going to focus on petunia and marigolds, but if you're interested in some of the other ones when growing, be sure to look out for continuing videos in this series. Okay, so let's talk petunias. I started petunias for the spring in November. I should have started them towards the end of December instead. Started them a little bit early. They got really big before I could actually get them out. But I want to go ahead and grow them again because I do love petunias for the fall, but it's such a short window that I feel bad spending $12.99 on one plant of petunias to go in a fall container if it's only going to be there about 4 to 6 weeks anyway. Now, I do feel like I'm starting a little bit late on these petunias. I wish I had started them at the beginning of June. However, I was traveling during June. I went to Alaska, which was absolutely amazing. And I didn't want to leave a bunch of brand new seedlings while I was gone. It's just too much pressure. Things could have dried up and died. I could have lost a lot of money through all the seeds. I just decided to wait. So I do feel like I'm a little bit behind, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. So I'm going to start with petunias. So petunias are known for vibrant colors and patterns. They are annuals. They can grow anywhere from 6 inches to 22 inches tall, depending on what variety you're looking for. They typically bloom spring, summer, and fall. They do not really do well during summer here in North Texas for me. Now, I've had lots of y'all say, like, I need to fertilize more, I need to cut them back, and I've tried a lot of different things, and they just peter out right about now. If I walked you out to my front garden right now, you would see all my petunias that I had started from seed in the spring, or they're all dead, they're fried. So, which is fine. I mean, I understand that I'm not one to like keep up with it during the summer, and it is what it is, and it's survival of the fittest in my garden. So that's fine. But I do definitely want some petunias for the fall. Now, petunias are full sun annuals. They like 8 to 12 hours of sun each day. They don't do as well in shade, just so that you're aware. I have had them anywhere from in baskets to pots to borders, tucked under trees, all different kinds of places. And I definitely think that the best place they do is on my front border when they're in full sun all day long. Now, typically, if we were starting these for the spring, we would start these about 10 to 12 weeks prior to your last frost. Now what we're doing is we're starting them about 10 to 12 weeks before the fall. My goal is to get these planted out mid-September, allow them to fill in and enjoy them until we get our first frost towards the end of November. Okay, let me pull out the supplies we're going to need today. We're going to be using my Amazon trays, and those are listed in the Amazon storefront in my video description below. But basically, it comes with a water reservoir, and then it comes with a 12-cell container, seed cell container, and a little dome that goes on top. This size works really well for me. I am a home gardener. I don't have acres of land. I don't mass produce flowers to sell. I'm just really just like a regular person who likes to grow stuff in their garden. And so the 12 seed cells works really well for me. I have some larger containers off to the side that I did a bunch of Lysianthus in, but I was growing most of them for my friend Kristen. Using these containers allows me to just put 12 seeds of one particular flower in these, and I feel good. Way better using these 12 than using the 72, as I rarely do 72 of any one particular variety of seeds. Now, for starting my seeds, I'm using my favorite potting soil, Burger BN7. I choose to use this over a seed starting mix because it fits my needs, it does the job, and it fits my budget, less expensive than seed starting mix. And all I'm going to do is start with my trays just like this. And no, I don't wash my trays out in between. I haven't really run into too many issues at this point. And I'm just going to take my soil, I'm going to run it through my hands to make sure that we broke down any clumps or anything like that. And then I'm just going to add soil to the top, use my fingers to push it down a little bit. And just like that. Super simple, easy. You want the soil to be a little bit tight, but not too tight. You don't want it to be overly compacted because you want the roots to be able to travel through, but then you don't want any giant air pockets in it because that'll kill the roots as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up several of these containers, and then we'll get started on sowing petunia seeds. Okay, so we've got our trays filled up with our soil. Now, petunia seeds are really easy to actually start. You just have to give all seeds, you really just have to give them the right conditions, the conditions that they need. Every seed is different. They're all not going to be the same. So that's the important thing, is just reading the package, doing the research, or watching a video, and learn how to sow and grow each of the individual types of seeds. It works really, really great. So the first one we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and start with starting one out, and then I will go ahead and seed all of them, and I'll talk to you about the different varieties while I'm seeding those. So what we're going to do, let me go ahead and open this up. So petunia seeds are very small. These are pelleted or coated seeds, so they have a little bit of coating, water-soluble coating over the top of the seeds to make it easier to sow them. This particular varieties are from Swallowtail Garden Seeds, which I absolutely love. So I have about 50 seeds in here. I'm going to sow 2 per cell. These are surface sow. So I'm basically just going to take 2 seeds, drop them on the top. Okay, so I went ahead and sewed 2 trays. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and push down with my finger, just making sure that the seed has really great contact with the soil. Just like that. All right, once I've done that, I'm going to take my water reservoirs, need 2 of those. I'm going to fill this up at least 50% of the way. Typically a little past 50 works good. And this works with the regular potting soil. This technique, this dry start technique, does not work with seed starting mix. If you're using seed starting mix soil, you need to go ahead and pre-moisten the soil before putting it in the containers. But this works great for potting soil. So basically I just set these in, and you can immediately see them start to soak up the water and soak down into the container, which is great. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and label these, and we'll go ahead and put our humidity domes on, making sure that the dials are closed, just like that. Now, the petunia seeds need light for germination, so these will go under the grow lights for minimum 14 hours a day. Which typically works really well. They need to be kept at 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit for germination, which the natural temp of my house ranges from 60 to 72. So I feel pretty good about doing them like this. I don't think I'm going to put these on heat mats. However, if I don't see much happening with them, I will go ahead and transfer them over. And they do take 7 to 21 days for germination, which makes me rethink, maybe I should go ahead and put these on heat mats to kind of increase them so that I'm hopefully not going to 21 days for germination. Hopefully they germinate quicker than that. Once they germinate, we take the domes off and allow really great air circulation, making sure that they stay moist throughout the entire growing process. And we'll talk more about that as I finish up and go to the next round of seeds. All right, I was really intrigued by this burgundy star petunia. They're about 8 to 12 inches tall by 2.5 to 3 feet wide, and they are long blooming, about 2 to 2.5 inch blooms, white flowers with burgundy stars. All right, so these are giant flowers, about 4.5 inches wide. This whole plant is about 15 inches tall by 12 inches wide. These are excellent for hanging baskets, pots, borders, just a really deep, beautiful burgundy tone. Okay, for the double cascade blue, it's actually a purple tone, but you can see these are heavily ruffled double blooms, about 4 inches wide, and the plant is about 10 to 15 inches tall by 10 to 12 inches wide. Absolutely beautiful and lush. All right, for this one, a double cascade Valentine. This one is also heavily ruffled with more of a true red color as opposed to a burgundy, but I actually really like a red color for the fall. These are about 10 to 15 inches tall by 10 to 12 inches wide. Okay, we've got these all filled up with petunias. I've got all the domes closed, and I am going to go ahead and put them, I did decide I'm going to put them on heat mats just to make sure that they're warm enough and that perhaps they germinate a little bit quicker. 21 days is going to be tough if that ends up being the case. Let me grab another heat mat. And remember, these need lights for germination. So my lights are on 16 hours a day, but you may need minimum 14 hours a day, and that includes when you're growing them as well. Okay, so real quick on petunias, but also on any additional seeds, you are going to want to fertilize them once they sprout. Once they have like one set of true leaves, you want to go ahead and start fertilizing with something like a liquid fertilizer. I use Alaskan fish emulsion, which works great. I'll use it at the 50% of what it recommends, so a lower rate for seedlings. And you're going to want to make sure you fertilize the seedlings twice, every 2 weeks. Yeah, every 2 weeks. I get lots of people are like, my seedlings were doing great, and then they just stopped growing. And I asked, they're like, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, did you fertilize? And they're like, nope. I'm like, you absolutely need to fertilize your seedlings. So let's go ahead and go on to marigolds. Okay, so marigolds. Now, I grow marigolds for a wide variety of reasons. I grow some beautiful ones. I'm growing cocoa marigolds this year, and I grow those for tall, long, beautiful cut flowers. I tuck some into my vegetable areas to help ward off pests. Those do great. And for these, I'm really growing them for the color for the fall. Now, marigolds do great in my area throughout the heat and all the drought. They do pretty good. But these are specialty ones that I wanted to start specifically for borders and containers for the fall. So they are an annual bloom, and they're a member of the aster family. They are edible and great in vegetable gardens, and a lot of people believe that they work well as a pest repellent. I can't say yes or no on the pest repellent thing. I don't think I've used them enough to know. However, it makes me feel good to put them in my vegetable garden, so I'm going to keep doing it anyway. You want to start these, if you're starting these in the winter, you want to start them 4 to 6 weeks before you plant out. So starting these now, I'm right on time with these. These will be big and beautiful and gorgeous by the time it's time to plant them out for the fall garden. They are sown at about 1/4 of an inch deep, so we will surface sow them, and then we'll go over the top of them with additional layer of soil. You definitely want to over sow these. I have found that marigold seeds are not, don't have a very good germination rate. So you want 3 or 4 seeds in a container or in each seed cell. I'm probably going to do 2 because I only have 25 seeds of each of these. Now these germinate at about 70 to 75 degrees. So we are going to be putting these on a heat mat, and they are lightly covered. So although I am going to have them under the lights, the soil is going to cover them, so they should end up being fine. And like I said, one of the big things about marigolds is the low germination rate. So we are going to be utilizing the same process that we just were. All right, so we're going to use the same potting soil, the Burger BM7. Okay, for the marigolds, I love marigold seeds. They're like little long, like matchsticks. Very cool looking. And this definitely looks like a lot more than 25. Oh, this one is 50. So we might actually do 2 containers of this one. I'm aiming, this is what they look like. They're dark, and then they typically have 1 light tip. I'm aiming to put 2 in each cell. I'm just going to drop them on the surface to start, and then we're going to put a light layer of soil over them. Okay, and then we're just going to lightly press them down. All right, and then from there, we're just going to add a light layer of soil over the top. I'm just going to kind of shake it on instead of rubbing it on because I don't want to move the seeds too much. All right, just like that. We're going to add our water, 50%, at least 50% of the container. And we'll go ahead and put our domes on, making sure the vent is closed. Awesome. All right, let's do the next step. First type is a Proud Mary mix marigold, strong stems, and they're a dwarf African marigold, about 10 to 12 inches wide and tall, and then their blooms are about 3 to 4 inches wide, and this should be shades of orange, yellow, and gold. This next one is Mr. Majestic Double Marigold. So these are fully double blooms, splashy mahogany and bright yellow 2-inch blooms. The plants are about 12 to 16 inches tall and wide, heavily blooming from summer to frost. I can't wait to grow these. All right, I'm going to add in 1 additional heat mat. So remember, these like to be at about 70 to 75 degrees in order to germinate. Okay. Feeling good. All right, so marigolds, they end up taking 5 to 20 days to germinate. In the past, they've germinated pretty early for me, so I'm not worried about that. 5 to 20 days to germinate. Once again, once seeds have sprouted, you want to go ahead and remove the dome so you have really great air circulation. I'll probably go ahead and take them off the heat mats at that point, just because the ambient temperature of my house is between 68 and 72 degrees anyway. So I think they'll do just fine. You want to make sure they're having minimum 14 hours of grow lights per day. I will be doing 16 because it helps a lot. Those extra 2 hours, they'll do really, really good. I will be doing seedling updates. So look for those videos. I'll be showing you what's going on with the petunias and the marigolds and of course the lisianthus that I actually started in a different video. And I will show you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll show you the failures and I'll show you the successes. And then we'll talk about seedling maintenance along the way. All right, you all, I hope this encourages you to get started on some seeds for fall containers and fall blooms. I think this is going to be a huge money saver for me this year. Plus, I get the enjoyment of starting all of these, which I really, really love. And there's just something about planting out a brand new plant that you grew from seed to fruition, which is very, very cool. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you're going to be starting any seeds for your fall containers or fall borders. I'd love to know which ones you're starting. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.